Welcome to October, my friends. This is 5 Minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Thank you, as always, for joining me. I get asked a lot about how I built my brand, and I always kind of respond in the same way, which is, I don't really understand what you're asking me, because I've built my company around who I am, which, again, I'm learning is my brand. For instance, we have a new piece here in the office, which is obviously a huge part of our brand and our logo. It is here, it is here, it is back here.
Do you have a tattoo?
I have a tattoo, but I can't show you guys for this right now. But I do have one. It's a good idea, though. And so when people, whether I'm on a podcast, which I was on recently with Henry Schneider talking about business in general, and I used to answer really kind of empathetically like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Building a brand. What does that mean? And what I found it to mean, guys like Paul Daly are always talking about it. And I never get involved in discussions because I struggle with what I do. I feel isn't as transferable to other people. Like people say, well, how'd you do that? I don't know. I just did it. I don't think about it, right? But then I have to look back at things retrospectively and start to say, okay, here's how we did it. So talking about building a brand. So our brand has been around for 6 years, okay? But our brand hasn't been visible up until the last 24 months, right? Yeah. 2 years, when we decided to get me on social media or get social, right? And here's the thing. We were very, very apprehensive at first as a company to put this out there, okay? Because we thought that we would turn people off. But what we didn't realize was that was actually going to be a good thing for us, because we were gonna dwindle the pool down to people who were interested in what we were doing. So we went out and we created the podcast that you're watching here today, right? And when we decided to do a podcast, we needed to have music. So that's why, as always, thank you so much to our boy Fareed Haq for letting us use his music for all things we do here at CarBiz. We love him for that. So we went out and we got music, right? And that's part of who we are as people. So we put the logo together. We put the podcast together. We put the music together. And then we just went out and we said, okay, well, how are we going to do it? Well, it started off as audio, so it was a lot of talking. And I found that people were engaged, but not as engaged. So as time went on, we started to talk about what we could do. One of the first things we did do, we shouldn't have done, is we thought we had to promote this stuff, right? So you're on Facebook, you're promoting it, you're Twitter, you're paying money, social media outlets to promote. But all we were getting was sort of half-assed nonsense. And so we stopped all paid advertising whatsoever. And I got embedded in LinkedIn because that's where I live as a business professional and had dabbled previously, but hardcore for the last 2 years. And so then the brand started to sort of take off. So that was in 2017. So here's the brand starting to move. But we didn't know what the brand was. When people would ask, what do? We struggled to explain it because we were creating a niche market in a gigantic space such as automotive. And by the way, it's okay to have a niche brand. It's okay. One of the first things I did when this company started to really take off was I approached an uncle of mine, an advisor of mine that I use, and I asked him, what should I do next? And he posed a very simple question. Do you want $1 million company or do you want a $5 million plus company? And he said, careful how you answer, because it's not what you think. And I thought to myself, well, of course, I'm I want a $5 million company. And he said, great. You're never going to see your family, your wife, or your life again. You're going to stress yourself out. You're going to have to do all kinds of crazy shit. You're going to have to get investors. You're going to have businesses. You're going to have employees. And the list went on and on and on. He said, but if you want $1 million business, I think you're on the track to do that with just the setting you have now. And I thought to myself, wait a second. I could have a great business. Whether it's $1 million or not, I don't really give a shit. Frankly, if I wanted to be a millionaire, I would have never got out of the dealership world because I was on my way to buying stores. So that really, money was the motivator as a young guy. But as I get older, it's about the well-rounded life that I want to lead. Which, don't get me wrong, we don't run a non-for-profit over here. That's not what I'm saying. But we are certainly, money does not make our decisions. We do not have a board to answer to. So you have to consider when building a brand, who are you having to answer to? Because if it's to someone bigger than you really can't build a brand. You can try to help someone else with their vision, but if it's your vision, it better be your business to build your brand. So we were afraid to put me online. We put me online. We find out that people like it. Not everybody likes it, but people like it. And then it starts to take off where one guy texts another guy about the podcast, then he starts watching. Then that guy watches, then he texts me, asks me direct questions. Then he asks about what we do for a living. Okay? And then it sort of snowballs. We started signing more clients when we stopped selling altogether. We got rid of the follow-up calls. We got rid of the outbound call, all of it. We, in the last 12 months, I'd say maybe the last 18, we've done nothing to sell our company. And we've added more clients in 12 months than we have in the previous 48. So there's a lot to consider as you go into building a brand. And there's a lot of people who do it. I mentioned Paul Daly, Johnny Resurrection. These guys are brand builders. It's what they do to sort of elevate people around them. I'm bad at helping with that because I just do what comes to me naturally. But here's the last thing I'll say. Be yourself and be authentic. And when people in your community engage you, engage them back like you give a shit. That's the most important thing I'll tell you today. As always, thank you so much for joining me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you'll find us all over the place. Have a great day, and we will see you again next week. Thank you.